Vamos falar sobre a era da biometria, que aparentemente já chegou, e para isso vamos abrir aulas para Beeson, que é diretor de inovação da ANA e que também vai falar inglês, ou não? É? The stage is yours.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for having the opportunity to be here. Thank you to our hosts from Nest and Tourism Portugal. One of the things I think that we've seen from that last presentation as well is that Portugal has so many different values and different opportunities to be able to present to the country and to welcome all the different tourists. And from ourselves, we recognize as the gateway into the country from so many different foreign countries, what is the responsibility that we have to provide a very positive first experience, as well as a very positive last experience when tourisms are flying in and out of the country. And also as they travel around the country. And what we want to be able to showcase a little bit today is what are we doing from an innovation perspective? How are we looking at the journey? How are we trying to innovate the process, challenging the status quo as well to really provide a different experience, to be able to get to wow faster, to be able to enjoy the wines and other aspects inside the airport as well. So maybe there's an opportunity to collaborate together. I'll look to my colleagues Nuno and Francisco for that perhaps. So what we wanted to showcase a little bit here is beyond just in Portugal, we also have a lot of airports around the world. So what this has helped us to do is to really understand what is the global traveler perspective, understanding what has worked in other countries, how can that come into the airport experience as well. So what the teams really had in front of them was a chance to say, we have obviously a limited capacity inside the airport terminals. We wanted to make better use of the space that we did have. We also wanted to really focus on the passenger. You know, for us is that at the end of the day, no matter what we try and do, if we focus on the passenger, recognizing our own travel experiences, that of our friends and families and the community stakeholders, we can come up with new solutions that address the real problems that we need to be able to provide. And ultimately for us, it really comes down to the partnerships as well. We can't do that by ourselves. So working with the airlines, with the different commercial partners inside the airport, as well as in this case, the border force with CEF, was a key part of what we looked at. So looking across the globe, we looked at new technology, seeing how that could help to innovate the process. We really centered in on the biometric capability to provide a new way of processing the passenger. So for those who may not have had a chance to go through this in different airports around the world, really what we're trying to do is to take the live image of your face by a selfie camera or any other way that you typically unlock your phone these days, matching that against the document that you do have. So the same performance that the border officer is doing today or the airline agent at both the check-in and sometimes at the boarding process, trying to consolidate that together in a technological way that says if we capture that information once, either on your mobile phone or in the airport process itself, we can then reuse that downstream in the process. That means you enter the airport, you take a quick photo, you scan your passport, you're able to scan the boarding pass or upload it to the cloud. And from there, you then just have to go through each step of the process by showing your face to a camera, and it automatically recognizes who you are, talks to the authorized individuals from the airline process to make it simpler, faster. The dream is walk through the airport with your hands in your pockets until you get to enjoy the different wow experiences that we can bring into the airport as well. So this is really what we wanted to do, but beyond just introducing new technology, to the same point that you were making earlier, it's not about saying here's technology. It's about what is the process that you can create with that. So what the teams did a really fantastic job of was re-looking at the overall process, end to end, working with the partners to be able to come up with a concept that says we're going to work with the border force, so working in collaboration with CEF to remove that central border control point. How can we use CEF involved in the process earlier to dynamically be able to process? So what we've been able to do, both in Terminal 1 earlier in last year, is we introduced new devices where you can come in, you can scan your boarding pass, scan your passport, capture a photo, and then go through the boarding process without having to show those documents again. So this is what we tried to do from an innovation perspective, was that there's a lot of lessons learned to go through. What is the technology? What is the process? How do we communicate this to passengers to make sure that they understand the process that they're going to go through and simplify it as much as possible? So therefore, once they got to the boarding gate, they were able just to keep all their bags and everything with them, walk up to the device here, take a quick photo, and go to the plane. So what we really found was that it was a simpler process for the passengers. They got an introduction to what the process could be. And now, based on that, we're looking at how we can introduce this for the non-Schengen passengers. So this is really the concept of operations that gives us a new opportunity to relook at. In this case, the case study is Terminal 2. So for those of you who've gone through Terminal 2, if you're flying to the UK or other destinations outside of Europe, is that you have to go through the security process, then you go through the border process, and then often you're in the smaller zone where there's not as many access to the retail or the different food and beverage services. Then you would go through the boarding process. This dynamically flips it, that when you enter to the security process, you go through these devices, you're able to capture the information that we require. The border force is involved only for those that are actually being processed for the non-Schengen flight. And when you do the boarding process, you're able just to go through the gate without having to show your documents again. So therefore, is that you really get a chance to enjoy the departures facility, the new duty frees that are coming into the zone as well, and it simplifies it from our perspective, if I can back here, because now we'd be able to open up the whole part of the terminal for both Schengen and non-Schengen flights. So it gives us more opportunity to serve different markets, expand the use of the footprint that we do have in the terminals. So ultimately, this is really saying, how do we take the new technology to create a new process, working in collaboration with the partners, and learning from an innovation perspective about how we can test the concept, work within it, and go forward from there to really drive a new experience inside the terminals. Across the different airports that we do have the fortune to operate around the world, we're also testing different concepts. So we're saying, how can biometrics help to support that from different use cases in terms of what we're doing in Lyon? We have the ability to use the mobile enrollment. So you're able to do all that enrollment process on your mobile phone instead of having to go to the airport. This is another big step in the right direction that says, how then can we provide that personalized experience that so many people are craving as they go through their mobile device? What we also have in Orlando is a project that we're working on there with the authorities to be able to simplify the boarding process again. In Brazil, we've got a collaboration there with the government to be able to have the process that when you do your arrival into the country, you're actually able to create your biometric identity that you can use on the outbound journey. So again, it's how do we say the information that we have, use the biometrics to collaborate as an organization across different partnerships to open up new traveled corridors to make more tourism opportunity for us. So in the end, where we're kind of thinking of is that we would love to be able to see that you are able to go on your phone, take a selfie photo, scan your passport or identity card, upload your boarding pass, and then you are able to travel through an airport from Portugal into France, come back from Lyon using that same identity. You don't have to continue to show your documents over and over and over again to really simplify the process and gives you more time as a traveler to enjoy what's happening inside the airport. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do to make a more positive experience both on the inbound and outbound process across the country and across inbound and outbound travel into Portugal. So I will stop there and leave you with the last question of how do you want to spend your free time? And I've got the perfect gentleman right here, Nuno, that if you have ideas for how to experience the airports, use the WOW concept, Nuno can take all those tough questions for us. So thank you very much and looking forward to the rest of the presentations today.